41 spanking degrees outside. I gotta start wearing some sunscreen. This is quite nice. Not really getting the winter vibes anymore though, because all the snow is melted. But honestly, I'm okay with that. I've had my fill. I'm ready for things to warm back up. I like 65. I like 70. 80, you get a little warm there, but I think I'm talking a little bit too soon, given it's not even February. Or, actually, is today the 31st? No. Yeah. So even by the time this is posted, it won't even be February. 1 month. 1 month out of 12 gone. Damn near 10% of the entire year. You know, I guess you could say closer to, 8, but still. I think the sentiment still holds. This time is going to fly by, just like it always does. So there's the percentage of folk where they're making this shit happen. And then there's the percentage of guys where it's like, another year, man. You know, sand, oof, slipping right through your freaking fingers. But not to get too, not to get too deep with it. What's the plan for tonight? I'm talking shoulders. I think legs needs to be backed off to a once a week type situation, because I can tell I'm building up quad and hamstring fatigue quicker than normal. And what I really mean is I'm not recovering my legs as quickly as normal with all this calorie deficit action and cardio. So now, instead of my typical legs, chest, back, arms, repeat, now it's going to look a little more like a legs, chest, back, arms, potentially rest day, or shoulders, chest, back, arms, repeat like that. Because all I'm aiming for is stimulation and muscle maintenance. I don't need to be overstimulating wouldn't be the right word. I guess you'd want to call that overreaching in terms of the training. But not the biggest change in the world. So with shoulders today, I'm talking rear delts and side delts. Nothing crazy, and there's not going to be any front delts. And I'm hoping that during the pose down, I actually look pretty disproportionate. And not hoping, really more so predicting. Because relative to my torso and my arms, my shoulders are ahead of the game. My delts are, I would say, my most developed across the board for my build specifically. So if they're pumped up, literally bigger than normal, then they should look pretty freaking nuts. So no need for any front delt work though, because I mean, just from any pressing, from what I've noticed at least, and I've got a bit of a tendency to hunch, which I've been working on, but my front delts are definitely, so then, zooming in on shoulders themselves, front delts are definitely overpowering side and rear, which I think isn't just a me thing. Frankly, everybody could do with a bit more rear delt and side delt work. I never really talk about it because I just, don't really do shoulders that much anymore. But when it comes to how your shoulders look and their kind of roundness and just kind of cool factor to them, there's a couple terms that get thrown around, and one of the biggest ones is having capped shoulders, right? People talk about having capped delts, and I think the biggest way to, or not the biggest way, but the biggest factor that kind of determines whether or not your shoulders have that round look, it's not your front delts. It's not how much weight you can overhead press. It's how many sets have you clocked in of rear delt work, because pretty much everybody has some meat up here, right? You do a front most muscular, your front delts are popping out. It's your rear delts, sneakily enough, especially looking at yourself from the side or from the back, where if your rear delts are underdeveloped, you kind of get this sort of slopey look to your build. So frankly, I think if everybody put double the volume / kind of attention on rear delts as they do front delts, I think we'd see some rounder shoulders. The only problem is rear delt work, it's not as fun and flashy. Shoulder press is cool. You get to throw around a pretty good amount of weight. You're looking at yourself in the mirror doing the hundreds. Holy shit. Right? It's cool. Rear delts, I mean, not a massive muscle. You're not throwing around tons of weights. You kind of just camp out on the reverse pec deck or doing a lot of face pulls or, bent over dumbbell laterals. And you just kind of clock in the sets, man. But the cool factor is once you've built up your rear delts and your side delts enough where it shows off in other poses. Like for me, especially in my side tricep, like when I sit there, I kind of put my arms behind myself and sort of flex there. Like there's a very distinguished sort of angular separation between tricep and rear delt, and that's from having pretty beefy rear delts. Same thing with doing a side chest. Like my shoulder is just as round over the back as it is on the front, like I've got freaking shoulder pads on. So not I don't, oh my goodness, I can't even remember the last time I did legit shoulder press work. I'll throw a set in every now and again just for kicks, but like really getting myself hyped up for some dumbbell shoulder press, yeah, been a while. And then one more sort of word of warning before I get started: be careful. Now, obviously, be careful with any sort of set, but I've been seeing a reasonable amount of clips and even just knowing guys where shoulder press dumbbell was what got them, right? They were doing maybe a weight they couldn't really handle. It is a pretty kind of unbalanced sort of situation. You're holding, depending on how strong you are, damn near 100 pounds in one arm above your head like this. If that thing starts to get away from you backwards, it's pretty tricky to dump it. So just be a little bit mindful. The last thing anybody wants to do is hurt themselves. So if you feel a little iffy, you're feeling a little nervous more than normal about going for the heaviest weight you've ever shoulder pressed before, just think to yourself a little bit like this, like, okay, is this worth the risk? Should I just back off a little bit and do a kind of normal size set? Just something to keep in mind. But no more chatting. Let's just get started with some rear delt work first, and then I'll finish with side delts. Now, that's not all I'm going to do. I've still got 30 minutes of cardio, but this is definitely more of a chill day for me, which I'm all right with. I can tell, especially after yesterday's arm day, that I can still feel some residual bicep fatigue a little bit more than normal. But no more talking. Let's go make this happen. Hard to beat the laying face pull. Not too heavy, not too light. I'm talking just right. All right. Boy. No. 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 Yeah. 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 Good. Good. Okay. All right. A few more of those. Oh. And I'm trying to be very careful about not using my traps and turning into like a high row. I just want to feel my arm rotate about my shoulder, if that makes sense. No. 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 Yeah. Okay. One more of these. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's do some reverse pec techniques. Nothing groundbreaking here. Oh, fuck. Apart from bumping my head, let me reduce this height just a touch. There we go. Oh my goodness. 2 more. And I think that might be it for rear delts. Okay. 1 more. Oh my god. Okay. Time for side delts. Whoa. 2 more of these, and then honestly, after 3 sets of dumbbell, it might be a little bit of a 6er kind of thing, shoulder day. Tried by me. One more. Oh my gosh. Okay. Whew. Let's grab some dumbbells. Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, 2 more of those and that'll be the end of it, I think. Oh my god, okay. There we go. A little bit of a quick one, and I forgot to hit record on that second set of dumbbell laterals, but what are you gonna do? So, shoulders feel, well, who cares how they feel? Let's see how they freaking look. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I would go so far as to call this shoulder pad territory, but how about you be the judge? Oof. So that's what I'm talking about. This extra roundness over the top gives it that sort of capped look. Whereas if my front delts were a bit underdeveloped, wouldn't have that same freak factor. Definitely not on this side tricep shot. Oof. Not the freakiest lighting. The other yoga rooms are packed with a karate class to my right and a regular yoga class to my left. But more than enough kind of side fanciness to get a grasp of some of the vascularity and sort of striations. So, no point waiting around. I've still got 30 minutes of cardio to finish, but yeah, that's cool for me. So, I'll see you in the car. 30 minutes on the seated bike complete. And I guess you're right, it is, obviously it's seated, but I don't know. Seated bike just sounds right. It feels weird to just say bike. So I think I'll keep using my kind of classic nomenclature. But yeah, no need for much for a freaky shoulder pump. Though I do wish I could have had access to some cooler lighting. Yeah, that might have been a little freakier looking. But it doesn't change the quality of the pump, only a little bit of the freakiness of the actual pose down. So we'll keep this part short and sweet because I am tired. I am ready for freaking bed. But I'm thinking a rest day for tomorrow, and then the day afterward, and so I'll get some new chest action. And when I say rest day, I do not mean completely chill day. That just means no lifts. Still gonna keep up the kind of cardio sessions there. So I think that's all I got, man. A little bit of a quicker one, but not a lot to do with shoulders. So I'll just see you for probably some cardio talk and potentially some meal chatting tomorrow.